My name is Jeff Feynman. I've been a licensed veterinarian since 1985. My background, thanks Jessica, can you hear me? Okay, well, yes. Okay, awesome, great. Thank you, Jessica. My background, just a minute to start this. My background is in molecular biology and genetics, and actually studied coronaviruses via the Fort Dodge vaccine, which was the first vaccine for coronavirus back in the 80s. But that's allowed me, the background in molecular bio and genetics have allowed me kind of to cut through some of the chase and try and learn as much as possible about this virus. And the number one thing that I want to share with everyone is that this is not a hoax. This is a real threat. And the reason it's a threat is that we are not focusing on the terrain of the body, and that is actually how we're going to be able to help our pets and people improve their resistance to the COVID and other infections like parvo, distemper, and leukemia. So let's see. I just got off a webinar of an international panel of MDs and homeopaths discussing the virus and how we're going to respond. And by far the number one and most important thing is taking this seriously and following all of the public health recommendations, meaning that social distancing is important, staying 3 to 6 feet away from people, frequent hand washing, 20 seconds or more, soapy water, all the things that you've heard are important, are indeed very important. And in fact, they can help stop the spread of the virus. And that is our goal today. So the second thing to know is that your pets are really not at risk, or at least as far as we know at this time, pets cannot contract or transmit the virus. A few studies have been done about the survival of the virus on pet hair or on surfaces or what are called fomites, and at the most we're talking a couple hours, maybe a day on a fomite. So certainly be mindful about trying to minimize exposure of your pets to anyone that has flu-like illnesses or symptoms, and that are the same rules that we use for ourselves. There was one dog that was confirmed, or at least believed to have the antibodies or the genetic material of the virus. And that 17-year-old dog in Hong Kong actually never did show any symptoms of the virus and never got sick from the virus, but unfortunately did go home and did pass away yesterday. But again, the dog was 17 years old, and we don't have any other information except to know that there was never any evidence that the virus actually, affected the dog. There was no antibody response to the virus. So going back to what we can do in addition to great and important public health recommendations that we're all hearing over and over again. I've actually put them all into a forum thread over at Holistic Actions, which I've posted here before, but I will post again right now. And it's in the in the chat, I think. Okay, great. So it's there. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of a summary of what's in that thread. And I would like you to ask any questions that you may have in the chat, because that's kind of one of the most important things is decreasing our fear, and that fear in all of us is the fear of the unknown, anxiety of uncertainty. Knowing that your body and your pet's bodies are designed to detect and destroy the coronavirus or any foreign invader is very, very important. That is, a virtue of our being healthy and well balanced. And everything I'm going to talk about today is going to add to that balance. And that's exactly what that you want to be doing. So we talked about a little bit about the usual public health recommendations, and social distancing being one of those. And we talked a bit about anxiety. One of the ways to decrease anxiety or, any fears of the unknown, of the virus affecting us or of what might happen, is using something called temporal distancing. So in other words, not just keeping your distance from people, but keep your distance from what's going on right now. So try and imagine what it was like 6 months ago, or what it will be like 6 months from now, which will be pretty well back to normal as far as being able to shop and whatnot. The economic implications are deep, and that's a story for another day, and that we're not going to discuss. But certainly temporal distancing is very useful if you're anxious at all about the virus. But the next holistic action is also going to be very, very, very useful for any anxiety or any uncertainty that we have. Certainly any fears. Try and minimize the anxiety, and that is to go outside and play with your pets. The more that you can do that, the more that you can get outside and practice pranayama, which is deep breathing and breathing exercises, the more that you can do that, the more that you're going to raise your body's ability to heal. And that's what it's all about, is healing. Because that healing, those natural healing processes are what's going to protect you from any external stressor. And the virus is really just an external stressor, just like any other bacteria or toxin or virus. The better your balance, the better your internal balance, the less you're going to react to any external stressor. And if you do react, if the stressor is very high, let's say you get a high exposure to the virus or any bacteria or any toxin or stressor, the better your balance is, the greater the chance is that you're going to be able to rebalance quickly and easily. So there are specific strategies for pranayama in people and in pets. We discussed those all in the forum thread, but right now what everyone can do is order a snuffle mat for your pets. The snuffle mat is a great way to get them to practice pranayama easily and quickly, and without having to go outside and play with them and engage with them. So it's good for them, but it's not really as good for you as it would be to get outside. Take a deep breath. There actually are specific pranayama practices that you can use. What I like, and I guess I'm not going to be able to do it, but basically expanding your chest volume as much as possible while you breathe in deeply, and ideally focus on breathing into your back, which filled up all of your lungs in this area and then in the back, and then expel all your breath as fully as you're able to, and do that at least 10 times, a couple times a day. Ideally, again, outside, and the reason I'm focusing on the outside air is because there is evidence that the negative ions in the air, the fresher the air, the better, that they will actually improve your body's ability to heal. And of course, we know oxygen does the same thing, but there's some or increasing evidence that prana, which is life force energy that allows all of us to survive and allows our pets to survive and thrive. There is growing evidence that actually is going to help your immune system and your body's ability to heal. There is a human foundation called the Art of Living Foundation that has a very specific 20-minute pranayama practice that is shown via research to lower things like blood pressure and cortisol and adrenaline and allow the body to work better. It activates what's called the parasympathetic nervous system or relaxation response via the vagal nerve, but the details don't matter. Just get outside and breathe. That's the important thing. And even better is make believe you're a plant when you go outside, because there's more increasing evidence coming out of especially Jerry Pollack's lab in Washington, talking about the fact that even humans and pets can store and absorb solar energy. We can't use it directly the way plants can via photosynthesis, but we can certainly store it up in our cytoplasm, in our body's water, and then that can be, or at least his lab is showing, a few other labs are postulating that can then be converted into energy that the body can use. Now, don't take that at face value, because it's not research verified, not double-blind study verified, but it certainly is a good practice that when you do your pranayama outside, try and do it in the direct sun, facing the sun. Think of Superman recharging his energy by flying up to the sun and just saying, bring it in. And of course, my theory is that he's practicing pranayama at the same time, even though there is no air out there in outer space, but he's certainly absorbing the solar energy. There is one more factor that's going to be very, very, very important for improving your body's ability to heal when you go outside, and that is your exposure to nature. The more you can observe nature, and I keep looking to my left because, I'm looking outside and looking at the beauty and the wonder of spring. I mean, this could not have happened it's a horrible, horrible thing, but it couldn't have happened at a better time of the year, because the earth is being reborn, and the miracle of the rebirth of the earth is visible to us all, with the budding of the trees and just the beauty of the environment and those positive emotions, especially the emotion of awe. The more we feel awe, the faster and better we're going to heal. It's actually something that may even help decrease risk of cancer, and certainly helps improve quality of life during cancer treatment. And Jen, that's so good. The 4-mile walk that you took last night with Tebow was perfect. Hopefully when you're out there, you're doing lots of good pranayama, and you'll repeat that walk today if you haven't already. So get outside, play with your pets. That play is going to engage, activate parts of the brain that actually are also going to help healing. So getting outside and playing with your pets or walking your kitty on a harness and a leash checks all the boxes of healthfulness. Let's see what else. We hit the fresh air. We talked about solar energy. And of course, something that most of us already know is to eat as much fresh food as possible. Now, granted, it's getting harder and harder to get fresh food because people are hoarding it, but it's definitely still available. And the more fresh food that you and your pets can eat, the better you're going to heal. Concentrate fresh food wise on the green leafy veggies, dark colored veggies, fruits. My two favorites are the wild blueberry and kale. We do a blueberry kale smoothie, which doesn't taste all that bad, but pets seem to love it. And it works just as well if you pop the handful of wild blueberries a couple times a day, as well as eat your kale or broccoli or other cruciferous vegetables that have been shown to help activate the body's healing responses ability. In fact, just as a side note, one of the extracts from broccoli sprouts has been shown to help with cancer. So broccoli sprout extract is another great thing to use in these times for an immune booster. Along with that kind of immune boosting is just general immune boosting, which for people, you can use something called the community mushroom extract. The link is in the forum thread. I don't know if I have it right for me. No, I don't, unfortunately. But I can put the link in the chat for the Facebook Live when we're done. So that's for people, the mushrooms for pets that can boost the immune system as well as fight cancer and other diseases, are the CAS options, which again the link I'll put in the chat when we're all set. But there's a lot of immune boosting supplements, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D, that we need to be focusing on. Many of them are in the CAS options, and many of us are taking them already. But there is one that we may not be taking, but which has proven anti-coronavirus activity, and that is licorice root. That actually I am going to put in the chat. I don't have a link, but my friend Anthony recommends the Vimergy licorice root extract. And if I know how to type, be helpful. Okay, and I would definitely recommend getting yourselves some, or getting your pets, some of the licorice root extract, which can help, it again decreases viral replication. Some research on SARS, another coronavirus, actually shows that it decreases viral replication. Speaking about other coronaviruses, there is a connection that can be made to work with that Niels Peterson has been doing for decades on coronaviruses, most of which in dogs and cats are very benign. They get coronaviruses all the time and never have any problem. But there is one form of a coronavirus that actually is associated with FIP in cats, but the strategies that we're discussing also are going to help the quality of life of cats with FIP, and it's going to help prevent the infection that's a secondary infection. Right, so let's see where we want to go. Fresh fruits, dark fruits, vegetables, energy, licorice, the form thread. Oh, and there is one more holistic action that I really, really, really recommend everyone take sooner than later. And the reason for that is that they're selling out all over the place. And that is to have a homeopathic emergency kit of your own in your house, because the emergency kits contain almost all of the homeopathic medicines that you need to fight flu-like symptoms. Now, they don't treat flu symptoms or any symptoms, but they can help improve the balance and improve the body's ability to heal itself. So, for example, the webinar that I just got off was a bunch of international homeopaths, and we were all discussing, strategies for you guys to use, and that's a lot of things that I'm sharing today. And as far as specific remedies and symptoms, that will be based on more experience, but up to this point, it looks like the majority of all of the remedies that you're going to need are going to be in that emergency kit. We have written, and I'll try to find the link to put it in the chat later on, teach about something called the 4 awesome A's, and that's 4 homeopathic medicines that can treat symptoms or help the body eliminate or improve the symptoms that are associated with flus, with food poisoning, with any stressor, which is really just a sign of imbalance. So you can improve that balance with any of the 4 remedies if they're indicated in that situation. 2 out of 4 of the remedies actually have been used already for people with COVID. At the very first signs of illness, one of the A's called the aconite can help and even resolve the symptoms. And coming out of India is another remedy called arsenicum album, which they're finding heals or helps many patients. And in fact, they're recommending it. The Indian Health Department is recommending it as a prophylactic. Now, I don't know anything specifically about the cases that were involved or if this is verifiable, but that is the information. And the very best way for us to start at the beginning and make our holistic medical and veterinary decisions is by collecting all of the information. So that includes all of the information from all over the world, no matter what the source. So that was the take home from the webinar, is that even though we're not treating patients, we need to arm you guys with all of the information that is available, whether it's about homeopathy or good hygiene. And I do believe there's a lot more I was going to share some of the info from the webinar, but when I get a copy of the webinar, I'll post it in the forum thread so you can watch it yourselves. We only have a few minutes left, and I would love to open it up to any questions that you might have, if you have any. And straining back, I'm just scrolling back. Jen asked about licorice root, and Jen, that's Vimergy product. Great. Well, it's great to know that fresh food for pets is more available than canned and processed foods. So yeah, Judy, it is an awesome time of the year to be outside, and we can definitely help our bodies heal by being outside as much as possible. And even if we have, outdoor restrictions, just do what they're doing in Italy and raise the window and go outside, or stick your head outside and breathe deeply, retain your breath. And again, I will put the Art of Living pranayama practice in the chat. And are there any other live questions that anyone wants to ask about pets or people and infections? Because the strategy that we're talking about is the exact same strategy that will reduce your pet's risks from any infection, because the infections are secondary. Infections are actually only going to affect you or your pets if the terrain of the body is such that you're imbalanced and able to host, the bacteria or virus or germ in your body. Louis Pasteur, the founder, the discoverer of the germ theory, basically acknowledged, or at least is said to have acknowledged that near the end of his life, where he actually said the terrain is everything. So that's how I want to leave it with you guys. That the terrain is everything. Focus on the terrain. And if you have any questions at all, I'm here to support you as much as possible. Post them, on this page. If you're a gold member, post it on the Holistic Actions forum, and I will try and update both the forum thread and threads here, on a daily basis. So thank you so much for your time, and we will see you soon. So thanks. Bye. I think that did it, but maybe not. Okay, let's try again. And I'm reminding you.